What's up, guys? It's Ethan, and I'm back here drawing today, so let's just get right into it. We're doing another graffiti piece based off of a sketch that I did forever ago with letters that kind of look like that. It started off pretty stick-like, and then I was spending some time with the T trying to get the general shape down so that I could apply that to all the other letters, but it took a while to actually come up with something that I liked. So I was drawing over with red lines to kind of just rough draft a few things. So that way I knew what I was going for the overall design and the overall flow. But I ended up using these shapes for the bars and planks that kind of look like a triangle or like a wedge or something like that. So started with the T, and I threw in some extra little elements there, and I kind of reshaped it to something that looked nice. I was like, okay, I think that's good enough to put on the rest of the letters. So tried to apply that to everything. And really easy to kind of just like roughly sketch everything in and then kind of, you know, distort it to fit with everything else. That way you don't have to worry about sizing it right first time. And then the C's are always difficult because you gotta make, well, at least I do. I put 2 C's in my name, so 2 C's worth of creativity is required. And, you know, I wasn't really coming up with a whole lot. So my first idea was super lame. I kind of hated this shape. But you know, I had to put something down to get started, so after lining up 2 C's that I did not like, kind of took some time to maybe add some things, see if that helped it. And I was like, no, I think I need to just kind of come in and redesign a couple of these features. I hated the way that the rectangles looked, so I'm like, no, take the rectangles away. And then the C had to have a different shape, so I spent some time reworking the shapes on the C's to kind of put that little kink in it that the rest of these letters had. Like the H and the I all have a little bit of a bend to them. So I figured it would be better to shape the C like that. And I think it was a great choice, because the first ones were very boring. They just looked like a generic little curve or whatever. Yeah, after I sketch all that in, I can finally put down the lines that I think I want for the final form. And I always see graffiti artists putting these like lines through the middle of their segments. So I copy them and I put that in there because I think it looks cool. And then these lines are a good chance for me to kind of adjust how big things are, how small things are, and get them really to match each other a little bit better from the original sketch. And then from here I can add, you know, like a couple more little elements to kind of round it out, fill up that volume a little bit. Nothing too crazy though. Then one of the only other little things that I added here were little highlight squares. Usually they look like bubbles, but I wanted them to be more square, so the light source is square here. And then from there, you know, I was just kind of sitting here staring at it for a while. I wanted to add these little bits. I knew it needed more, so I wanted to add these little corner, I don't know, arrows or outlines or whatever. And I thought it would be nice to try a different like brush. I wanted to try the pressure sensitive brush, see if that worked. But to be honest, it made the shape look pretty sloppy. So I ended up changing these. I always think that it's like a good idea to try other brushes, but I always come back to the basic, like two, you know, the hard and the soft brush. I don't really, you know, experiment beyond that. At least in Photoshop, I feel like the brushes kind of don't handle the pressure sensitivity that well. Maybe that's just the hardware I have. You know, I just got Gaomon drawing tablet and pen, so who knows. But I was taking a moment here to kind of reshape things, and I was thinking maybe it would be a little different, but right around here it crashes and I have to restart the whole thing, and it kind of like took away those little edits I made, so I gave up on that. And I was frustrated enough with it crashing to kind of just keep these shapes as my shapes and not try to edit it any further. Just figured it would be annoying. But I did take out those corner details and move on to just sharpening up the edges and things like that. I didn't want it to look all bubbly or round or anything like that. Make these points pointy. Yeah, a lot of the work is just detail fixing and boring things. I wish I knew a tool or something that could do that better for me, but I'm unaware. Yeah, it's a lot better with those sharp, pointy points. Yeah, these parts are the parts where I really just like zone out. I ended up redoing the highlights to make them look a little less sloppy. And I believe from here, that was pretty much it for the line work. And I went into making the blocks from a shadow here. I didn't actually include like pretty much any shadows in the design, but I did use this shadow to make the 3D blocks for the letters. Like a pretty easy trick, you know. You just connect the points to the points and fill in where there might be gaps. And I think that was basically it for the shaping of the blocks. And then I like to use layer masking and things for the shading usually, but I saw this idea that I wanted to try out where you just put like more blocks of like color or darkness in the blocks to give them shading instead, which gives like a really crisp fat outline around the parts itself. But I was like, nah, this doesn't really vibe. It doesn't really look that good as the way I thought it would. It just didn't come out. So I changed tactics, and I felt like I was in like a brain fog for a minute while I was trying to remember like how I shade things. You know, kind of whack to me, but I was like, I know what I need to do, but I'm just like not doing it right. But eventually I figured it out, and I started shading these bits correctly. Yeah, and this is the part where it starts to really look good for me, is when it starts to look like really 3D and have some depth to it. And I give like the faintest little like hint of a line there for when the shapes hit corners and stuff. I didn't want it to be too bold. But yeah, for the fill-in though, after I got the blocks in, I wanted to do the fill-in, and I was trying out some ideas with like polka dots and things. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted, but I settled on doing a gradient and kind of just like picking out some of that gradient to put in the letters instead. And I thought that came out really nice. And I usually use layer masks for things like that, so I could just take, you know, exactly what I need out of it and then lay it right on top of the letters here. And I kind of, you know, had some fun adjusting the colors to exactly what I wanted to see. And then the background itself, I didn't have any ideas for like smoke or bubbles or whatever, but I do like those like 80s like solo cup, I guess, the like Bushi from the arcade cups that you get and stuff like that. So I kind of just like did something like that in the back, and I recreated the little corner bits that I wasn't happy with the first time. Yeah, I knew it needed something, and I think these little corner marks are what bring it together. And I end up rounding, not rounding, I end up kind of like thinning them out and making them pointier towards the end, but one step at a time. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know? I'm pretty much done with this thing after that step, so thank you guys for sticking around through this and watching me make some digital graffiti. I really like doing these kind of like shorter pieces. Some of these projects I take on, they take forever, and I like to also be able to sit down and do something nice within like a day or two. So, you know, here it is. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'll show a shot of it here at the end after my little advertisement. So thanks. Have a good one. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please come through to my website at www.thic216.com. All my favorite designs are there. Come through to my Instagram where I have all of my published works, only bangers on my Instagram. My Redbubble page features all of my best designs on some wonderful merch. All kinds of clothing, mouse pads, hats, anything you can think of. shower curtains, stickers, laptop cases, phone cases. Here I am displaying a nice hoodie, classic design, a pillow. Who could do without a pillow? Nobody. Everyone needs a pillow. Very soft. We've also got prints. Any kind of print you could want. Posters, metal prints, framed prints. We've got zipper bags, zipper pouches. Put every pencil, every pen you've ever had in there. Mouse pad, desk pad, game mats. Anything you could think of. I've even got a bath mat and a shower curtain. Also come through to my TikTok, small videos there. And then my YouTube for all my full-length videos, and Fiverr if you want me to make art for you. Thank you guys for sticking to the end of the video. Here is a final shot of the graffiti piece that I made. It is one of my favorite little color schemes. I like the light and vibrant colors. If you want to see more graffiti pieces like this, stick around. I'll keep making more videos with more graffiti. Or you could come to my channel. I got plenty of videos of me making art. So hopefully I'll make some more of these quick ones in the future, and I'll have like entire collections of these kind of like pop art graffiti styles. Anyway, thanks again. Have a great one, and bye bye.